So, what's the true key to satisfaction in a relationship? For so many of us, the answer is just, well, it's surrounded by myths. In this explainer, we're going to cut right through all that noise and look at the actual science behind intimacy and connection. Have you ever felt that pressure, the feeling that there is only one right way to be intimate? That if things don't go exactly a certain way, you're somehow failing as a couple? This one idea is a massive source of anxiety for so many people. And hey, if you felt this, you are so far from alone. Health expert Dr. Neha confirms that this exact question has created immense stress in relationships all over the world. It's a shared pressure, and it's one we really need to talk about. Okay, so let's just tackle this head on. We are going to break down the single biggest myth about satisfaction, a belief that's so powerful it can make a relationship that's otherwise really happy feel, well, incomplete. All right, here it is. The central myth is this, that the only way to true satisfaction is through penetrative intercourse. Today, we're not just going to question that idea. Nope, we're going to completely dismantle it using science. So where does a myth this huge even come from? Dr. Neha points to a few key culprits: totally unrealistic portrayals in pornography, a general lack of good, accurate information, and all these cultural pressures that create a really narrow definition of what intimacy is supposed to look like. This slide really lays out the fundamental shift we need to make. We've been taught to see intimacy as this simple equation: one act equals satisfaction. But biology, it tells a totally different story. Real satisfaction isn't a single event. It's a journey that starts with emotional connection and is truly built through foreplay. Okay, so if that's the reality, what's the science behind it? This isn't just about feelings, it's about a very real, very concrete biological process. Let's take a look at what's actually happening inside the body to create genuine pleasure. So let's get specific about foreplay. It's so important to see it not as some kind of warm-up act, but as the main event. This is the foundation of arousal, and it includes everything from a deep conversation to simple, affectionate touch. Think of it like a set of dominoes. Foreplay is that very first domino to fall. It's the essential trigger for the entire cascade of chemical and physical changes your body needs for arousal and ultimately for satisfaction. This flowchart here is basically the map of pleasure, and just notice where it begins, with emotional connection. That bond, when you combine it with touch, it prompts your brain to release this whole cocktail of pleasure chemicals. Like oxytocin, you've probably heard it called the cuddle hormone, which deepens those feelings of attachment and trust. This chemical cascade is what leads to increased blood flow, physical arousal, and finally satisfaction. It's a chain reaction, and every single step is vital. Understanding this science really just opens up a world of possibilities. It means there isn't just one path, but many different routes to mutual satisfaction, which is just incredibly empowering for any couple. So this means both men and women can achieve satisfaction through all sorts of stimulation, and it's all part of a healthy, robust experience. These aren't alternatives or substitutes. They are valid, powerful paths to pleasure all on their own. Dr. Neha states this so directly. She actually calls the idea that satisfaction only comes from intercourse a very big lie that's promoted by the media. The real star of the show, both scientifically and emotionally, is foreplay. It can also be super helpful to separate biology from intimacy. From a purely evolutionary standpoint, one function of intercourse is procreation. But our relationships, they're about so much more than that. This really highlights why it's so important not to limit our definition of pleasure to just one single biological act. So let's zoom out for a second, because this understanding doesn't just improve your intimate life, it actually strengthens the very foundation of your entire relationship. Because true intimacy, at the end of the day, it's not a performance. It's a harmony between the mind and the body, this powerful alignment of emotional connection and physical expression. And that harmony? Well, it's built on these pillars: love, respect for each other's needs, and a real mutual understanding. Physical intimacy is an expression of these things, not a replacement for them. So what does this all mean for you? Well, the key is to shift your focus. Really put that emotional connection first. Talk openly, and I mean openly, about what feels good. And most importantly, stay curious and explore new ways to find satisfaction together. We'll end with this. Armed with this knowledge, you get to write your own rules. So the question isn't what the movies tell you, it's what you and your partner decide together. How will you define happiness in your relationship?